3 managerial options to replace Solskjaer at Manchester United, part 2 of 3. Before the video starts, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you get notified whenever we upload a video. The first part to this series, where I look at another managerial option, will be linked in the above and in the description below, and part 3 will be coming out soon. I've also linked some of our best videos in the description below, including how Atletico Madrid can tactically set up to beat Liverpool in the Champions League, a tactical analysis of how Brendan Rodgers has transformed Leicester into top 4 contenders, a video explaining my 3-year plan for what Manchester United should do if their Saudi Arabian billionaire takeover were to happen, and videos tactically analysing both Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid this season and Antonio Conte's use of the 5-3-2 at Inter Milan. So the next option I would look at if I was Manchester United is JULIAN NAGELSMANN. This one might be slightly harder to pull off than the Pochettino deal, as Nagelsmann is currently contracted to RB Leipzig and only joined them in the summer. But if United could convince Nagelsmann to join and Leipzig to let him go, he'd be near the top of my managerial replacement list. Nagelsmann, like Pochettino, has shown he has excellent player development ability. At Hoffenheim, he took a relegation fighting team and transformed them into a Champions League club. He, like Pochettino, didn't do this by bringing in a whole host of players. He developed the existing players and built a system around the squad's key skill sets. At Hoffenheim, he created a compact defensive unit with his 5-3-2 system and used the midfield 3 setup to get the best out of key creator Kerem Demirbay. Demirbay played in a midfield 3 with Sebastian Rudy behind him and Amiri next to him. Demirbay and Amiri played like De Bruyne and Silva have done at City, as false 8s almost, playing high up the pitch in between the lines when Hoffenheim had possession. This would suit Paul Pogba if he remained at the club, even though that does seem unlikely. At Leipzig, Nagelsmann has used a 5-3-2, but his primary system has been the 4-4-2, which is more like a 4-2-2 in possession, which Leipzig are familiar with after using it under Ralf Rangnick and Ralf Hasenhüttl before Nagelsmann. Whatever system is used, Nagelsmann's style is focused on intense narrow pressing, which is what Leipzig are exceptional at, especially from the opposition's build-up. The set of players that Leipzig have, especially the midfielders and attackers, are suited not only to an intense pressing style, but also to quick transitioning, narrow offensive play that is also used where passes are quickly played into the midfielders from where they can look to play through balls in behind the back line for players like Werner to make runs onto. Players like Sabitzer, Lima and Campbell have very good football intelligence, which is needed from midfield players when in Nagelsmann's side. This is because the shadow pressing style of using a combination of cutting off passing lanes and moving out quickly to apply pressure requires a high level of positional intelligence. Fred and McTominay would probably be capable of adapting to this style of play, but players like Mata, Pereira and Matic would certainly struggle. United do have players who are capable of playing in a system like Nagelsmann's, with Martial and Rashford thriving when playing in the quick transitioning attacking style when Solskjaer first joined. However, Nagelsmann, unlike Solskjaer, is far more organised with his attacking play, and players like Sabitzer and Forsberg, the wide midfielders of the 4-4-2, are told to move into spaces where they can receive the ball for a quick transition, which is different to Solskjaer's style, which is far more dependent on individuals to create, rather than the system. If Pogba did leave, a central creative midfielder would have to be brought in, as well as 1 or 2 creative wide players who can move into central zones. But Nagelsmann is adaptable, so there's no doubt that he could change this system if he feels he needs to at Old Trafford. In a 4-2-2 or narrow 4-4-2 shape, whatever you want to call it, Martial and Rashford would play as a front 2. Like Werner, Martial would be used on the left as a wide forward, pulling out into the left channel to make runs in behind the back line, whilst Rashford would play the role of a deep line forward, dropping off the forward line to offer an option for a direct ball in between the lines. Yusuf Poulsen performs this role currently at Leipzig, but is more of a target man, whereas Rashford would primarily be given direct balls into his feet, rather than into his chest as Leipzig use Poulsen. Nagelsmann uses a deep line forward as a mechanism for moving the ball forward from back to front quickly, when they are unable to progress the ball through midfield due to the opposition's aggressive pressing. Greenwood could also play either of these 2 roles, as a wide forward from the right rather than the left, so he can cut inside onto his left foot more frequently. The 2 wide midfielders play more like central attacking midfielders than wingers, which United do not currently have. Mata has played a similar role to this early on in his United career, but doesn't now have the dynamism for a Nagelsmann quick transitioning offensive style and counter-pressing defensive style. Christopher Nkunku, who is currently with Nagelsmann at Leipzig, would be a great option for the left midfield role. He's created 2.5 key passes per game in the Bundesliga, which is the second most in the league, as well as having a goal involvement every 101 minutes. He'd be perfect to play in that wide playmaking role, moving ahead of the midfield into the half spaces where he has excellent creative and dribbling ability. Hakim Ziyech, who is genuinely a world-class player, could play the same role on the right side. Both players have the creative ability to play these roles, as well as the athleticism and football intelligence to play in a counter-pressing defensive unit. Nagelsmann's high pressing style would also suit Harry Maguire, who is an excellent front foot defender, which would be needed to anticipate passes into the opposition's forward, move out of the back line and make an interception. Potentially bringing in a quicker centre back who is better when making recovery tackles than Lindelof could also be an option, as United would need this skill set when playing a high defensive line. Mukiele and Konate at Leipzig would be good options, as would Upamecano, though he would be a lot more expensive. Merih Demiral and Christian Romero both have great recovery pace and are very good front foot defenders, and with both being contracted to Juventus could be available in the summer, with De Ligt, Chiellini and Bonucci probably ahead of them in the pecking order. Konate would probably be my first choice option if Nagelsmann wanted a centre back. The left back area would also need improvement, with Wan-Bissaka being the more conservative fullback in the offensive phase of play, so the left back needs to be a lot better going forward than Luke Shaw. Alejandro Grimaldo, Junior Firpo, Theo Hernandez and Luca Pellegrini would all be good options, though Theo Hernandez would be my first choice option because of his electric dribbling ability, which would be needed from a fullback with a narrow midfield four not providing the width or offensive output from the flanks. In central midfield, Polgar, Soumare and Ndidi would be my three main options for Manchester United's midfield spot. If Ndidi was attainable for around 50 to 60 million and United were willing to put up this sort of money, then he would be my number one target, and if not, Polgar would be a very good signing, as both have the ability to break up the play in central midfield, which is perfect for Nagelsmann's pressing style, as well as being good progressors of the attack in play during the build-up, allowing United to move the ball forward into attacking areas quickly when under pressure. United do use a less intense trigger pressing system currently under Solskjaer, and this would suit Nagelsmann's style and allow him to adapt this style further to make United a better cohesive unit when out of possession and enable them to win the ball back higher up the pitch. Like Pochettino, he is one of the best young coaches in the world, and like the Argentine, possesses the player development, squad building ability and tactical intelligence to tick all the boxes that United would need from their next manager. He would take some convincing to leave Leipzig, but if the United board were willing to allow a complete rebuild of the squad, which does seem like a big if at the moment, then Nagelsmann could be persuaded, and unlike Louis van Gaal or Jose Mourinho, he would be a long-term option, creating a project similar to that of Klopp at Liverpool. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed it, and like and share this video as well. You can check out part 1, which will be linked in the description below, and make sure you click the bell so you get notified when we upload part 3.